Yeah, Frank here has got his own billiard room.
Yes, it's what do you call it, Kramer?
Billiard room.
No, not billiard, not the billiards. It was
billiards room.
Come on already. Come on, we call it the
place to be.
The place to be. Yes, the place to be.
Then I shall be there.
Now, it's time. Live and in living color.
The Grandy Man can.
Time to play the game.
Well, you always left me satisfied and smiling, so.
That's what she said.
Why do I want this? I want to make bank, bro. I want to get ass. I want to drive a Range Rover.
Place to be Nation, Scott Criscola and Justin Rosero. This is the Place to Be podcast.
Very nice, Mr. Criscola.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis.
Fuck you, Daddy.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to another great episode of the one and only Place to Be Podcast. I feel like this is the 150th time we've talked to you just this week alone. It's been a hectic week, an action-packed week, but a very fun week, and we're going to close it out with a hella episode that we have for you tonight. But first, I do need to bring in... What? Oh, okay. Hold on, we got a special introduction here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, fighting out of East Haven, Connecticut, known around the world as Scotland the Brave, Father Time, Old Papa Pump, and the Count of Monte Cristo. He is the man that once ironically knocked out Glenn Beck with a lethal left hand. He is the PIC, Scott Crisco. How's that?
Tremendous.
You like it?
Yes, I did. Very much so. That seems to be getting some traction. Watch, he's going to call me now. Thank God he's not on Fox anymore, for God's sake.
Did you like the left in the... Did you get that joke? The left hand?
Yes,
because he's a right wing? Okay.
Yes, I know.
All right.
Yes.
Just making sure.
Thank you.
I was proud of that. I came up with that while I was making our egg sandwiches for dinner. I was very proud of myself.
Thank you.
All right, well, enough about me and you, because everyone's probably tired of hearing us at this point. So let's bring in our special guest. This is the man who won a PTB Live Raw Chat contest a while ago, and this is the show he picked to join us for. He took a personal day from work, showing his dedication, and that is, of course, Mr. Jason Greenhouse. Welcome.
Guys, how are you doing, man?
Greeny, it's a pleasure.
Yes, first time, Greeny. You weren't even on the 100th. Exactly, you mailed it in that time.
Popping my PTB cherry tonight.
Yes, you are.
Oh, my God. That's right. You were one of the few regrettable that was not able to make it on PTB 100. So
correct, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very tough. Yeah, that's right. Neither did LaRue, and we were happy about that. Thank God.
Yeah, the show went fine. Ratings, we're still.
The ratings were still. Yeah, very good. Yeah, that is true. That is true. PTB Nation, it is episode 143.
I think we were just on like 130 last week, so it's been a busy week.
We were on 92 last night. This is what it feels like, yes. And tonight, thanks to Mr. Greenhouse winning the PTB Chat Trivia Contest, he is joining us. He was allowed to pick any vault he chose, and I'll tell you something, Greeny, you picked a damn good one, that's for sure.
Yeah,
all right.
I thought about it, guys, and, what better way, MSG, Bret Austin, a couple of other good things going on tonight.
Yes.
I had to go with it.
But I have to be quiet now because, as you know...
Hey, what is going on here?
Never mind. This is our exchange student from New York, okay? He's not from Indiana or wherever the hell, Bayside. Didn't Bayside High move from Indiana to California or some shit? I don't know.
Well, Scott, I actually send you a... I read this conspiracy theory article today on how Saved by the Bell was actually all a dream of Zach Morris's because he was a loser in Indiana. He had no friends and was like always picked on, so he came up with this alternate reality where he was like the man, like really cool. I'll post a link on the Facebook page.
Yeah, I think people get a kick out of that. That's pretty funny. He might have been because God knows you can't lift a high school and drop it in another state unless everything left of Indiana fell off into the ocean and we have oceanfront property in Gary or whatever. I don't know.
Gary,
all right, but anyway, tonight, Gary, Indiana. Anyway, tonight.
An odd choice. That's all.
I don't know. Indianapolis is too much in the middle. So anyway, tonight on the Place to Be podcast with the Pablo Picasso at our side. You are Pablo Picasso, Greeny, but you are not the master and the ruler of the world.
Big Apple. It's the city that never sleeps. And this weekend, it's as if every New Yorker had consumed an extra cup of caffeine. The World Wrestling Federation took over the world's greatest city across the radio waves, on television, and in print. And last night, thousands flocked to the Marriott Marquis in Times Square for the annual WWF Hall of Fame banquet. But tonight, it's the main event. Tonight, the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels defends the title against the dangerous and unpredictable Psycho Sid. Tonight, living legend Bret the Hitman Hart returns to the squared circle to battle the menacing Stone Cold Steve Austin. Tonight, The Undertaker looks to finally lay Mankind and Paul Bearer to rest. And tonight, who will survive the grueling Survivor Series elimination matches? Live from New York, Milton Bradley Karate Fighters presents the 1996 WWF Survivor Series.
I went crazy today trying to find that Karate Fighters information. It looks like there were 3 of them. It looks like it was 95, 96, 97, but I couldn't confirm it.
Okay.
Driving me nuts.
Greeny, do you remember?
I remember the one that you guys were talking about last episode. I remember it was Sid and Sable, I believe, or Sid and Sonny, was it?
Sid and Marlena. No.
Sid and Marlena,
Yeah,
okay.
yep.
That I do remember. It could be about 3 years that it went on for.
I thought so. I'm pretty sure there was one in 95, and I know there was definitely one in 97.
There was in 95. I do remember that because the Survivor Series was Karate Fighters at the beginning too.
Yes, okay. I think there were 3. I'm pretty sure there was one the next year too.
I can't believe they actually milked a toy for 3 years. Unless they upgraded. Maybe I don't know. Did they upgrade the toy over the incoming years, or was it the same, like Karate Fighters Plus or something? I don't know.
Nowadays they milk their talent for about 10 years, so I guess it's okay.
All right. Are we ready? November 17th, 1996. Live from, as we know, home office of the World Wrestling Federation, and that is iconic Madison Square Garden in New York City. Now, JR, since we've been doing kind of our new format of you doing the history of the arenas, we haven't been at the Garden, obviously, since WrestleMania 10. If you'd like, it is a very rich history because there have actually been 4 Madison Square Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
This one opened when?
1991. It was renovated.
It was renovated, yes, but this building...
1968.
1968 it opened, yes. And, of course, it's being renovated right now
Mm-hmm.
as we speak, of course. Obviously, the 2 main sports teams, the New York Rangers and the New York Knicks.
I'd consider the New York... I'd consider the Liberty as mainstream.
Okay. Well, I was about to say, the Liberty joined in 1999. Not really. But they joined in 1999. Obviously, next to wrestling, the one event, I bet you Greeny likes this too, that I've always loved in that building, and that is, of course, the Big East Tournament.
Absolutely.
Every year. I've been there now each of the last 5 years.
That's why I keep Rotella around as a friend, just so you can ride his coattails to the Big East Tournament. Right?
Well, the family doesn't show up, and, my brother gets to sit and get drunk with his other UConn misfits. So, anyway, okay. And there's also, of course, been an iconic number of concerts: Led Zeppelin, Billy Joel, Elton John, etc., etc., etc. Concert for
you want to read them all?
No, don't. Last time we did that, you came up with bands I didn't even know.
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears, yes. Concert for
If
New
you
York.
read them all, that could take as long as the trivia match last night.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Great.
I almost fell asleep at work listening to that today.
We're hoping later on. By the way, listeners, we do have, obviously, our third trivia matchup. 1/3 of that group is, of course, with us right now, Mr. Greenhouse, and 2 more will follow him. If you have not, I'm not going to spill the beans. Most of you have listened already. 2 are in. Derek Cornett and Grant Owens have moved on to the quarterfinals. Will Greeny join them? Will he not? We'll find out later on.
2 fun facts for you regarding concerts, Scott and Jason. 2009, during the Circus starring Britney Spears tour, she sold out 3 back-to-back shows in 43 seconds.
Wow.
43 seconds, 3 back-to-back shows.
Yes.
It's insane.
Wow.
It is insane.
July 1st, 1998, the Spice Girls sold out in 12 minutes. The first band to do that.
Wow.
They performed twice there that year.
Scott, you have pit passes for that one, didn't you?
I did. But I had pit passes for the first concert at the first Madison Square Garden in 1876, and it's in my frame right next to the
Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, so no, it was P.T. Barnum and the Extra Midgets. It was Tom Thumb.
Scott, I was going to ask you if you can take the nation back to when Bruno beat Buddy Rogers back in '63. Tell us what that was like.
Yes, it was incredible. He had him in a bear hug, and Buddy Rogers had a heart condition and knocked him out cold.
Was it real? Did he really do it, or was it all a ruse?
Well, no, Buddy Rogers did have a heart condition, so he had to forfeit the title, and they wanted to make Bruno strong. I don't know if you had to play the Scorpions last week.
12 minutes they sold out. Oh, so now you're comparing the Scorpions to the Spice Girls? That's rough.
And of course, the record though, Billy Joel, who sold out 12 consecutive shows in 2006.
Yeah, he's actually got. They have a banner with that inside the Garden.
Yes, they do. There's actually a banner for Elton John, who has sold out a total of 60 shows at Madison Square Garden, which is a record. Billy is in third. I think he's at 55, and I think Bruce is like at 56 or 57.
Yeah, Bruce is up there too.
Yeah.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
Okay.
Sugar tits, sugar tits, sugar tits. Oh, sorry.
I really,
Sorry
really,
about that.
really want a sugar tits. Ah.
Okay, your announcers, of course, our standard play-by-play man, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Jim Ross, still rankled, and the King, Jerry Lawler. Your attendance, no disappointment for Madison Square Garden, 18,647, and the buy rate, 0.58. I was expecting a little higher, but obviously at a time when the product is still kind of half and half, fans may not have wanted to jump on it yet, but they would regret it. I think we can all safely say that. JR, what is the free-for-all? If someone was on the fence about purchasing this show, what match did they watch that may have turned the tide for them?
Really wanna zig a
What was it, Posh and Sporty in a cage?
Hey, okay. Our dark match was a Survivor-style match. Goes about 11 minutes, and it features Jesse James, back, now known as the Road Dogg, the former roadie. We'll get into him a little bit as the year goes on, or ends, I guess. Aldo Montoya, Bob Holly, and Bart Gunn, taking on the Sultan, who we talked about last night, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, Salvatore Sincere, played by Tom Brandi, and Billy Gunn, because the Smoking Guns had since split.
Yes.
After Buried Alive, so no longer champions. Bart Gunn was actually the sole survivor pinning Billy Gunn, which to me was a pretty big surprise, I thought. I thought Billy would be set for the big push.
So, Greenie, were you sitting in front of your TV, holding the D you got in geometry, tears running down your face, wishing you were sitting in that
during
building?
the free-for-all, I didn't miss the match, but definitely that MSG crowd, definitely let me down.
It's one thing about that
being
building. That's definitely one thing about that building. It never mattered what was going on with the product or what was going on. That building just knows. It's just the fans. It's just this part of the country. They never let you down.
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want.
You're letting me down, though. My God, what are you doing? You know what you're doing? You're trying to make me tell you, put that WrestleMania the album back in. Why not?
Yeah, throw it back on. Let's go.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Let's get into our first match. And then, of course, and by the way, follow along, bigelow34.proboards.com. You'll see the eliminations of of our free-for-all match. Bart Gunn pinned Billy in 10:44. So, okay. Let's get into our first match, which is a Survivor-style match. It is the customary tag team Survivor match. Not quite to the levels that we had in that awesome Survivor tag matches in 87 and 88, but still not bad. We'll start with your babyface team. We have the Godwins.
Still hanging around.
Yes, Phineas Ignatius Godwin and Henry Orpheus Godwin. And a new team coming on the scene. And since they are from my PIC's favorite part of the country to cultivate tag teams, I will let him introduce them.
It is Doug Furness and Philip LaFawn. Now, these guys were announced ahead of time, but I don't think they appeared on Raw at all. This is pretty much their debut, so we didn't know what to expect with these two guys, unless you were a worldly wrestling fan, which I was not at the time. But they started their run in All Japan Pro Wrestling in 1989. Of course, Dan Crawford, as he was known as, Phil LaFon there. They went to the UWA 92-93, back to All Japan for 93-94, had a brief run in ECW in 96 before Crawford renamed himself Phil LaFon, and they were repackaged together, signed their contracts, and debuted here at Survivor Series 96. So kind of a bland team as far as personality goes, but tremendous in the ring, fantastic in the ring, and they get off to a really good debut here.
Yes. And our heel team is, of course, your World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions, the Rocket, the King of Hearts, Owen Hart, and the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, and the new Rockers, who I guess have slid over to the heel side, Marty Jannetty and Leif Cassidy.
And this is actually their final appearance as a team, because Jannetty hurts his knee here, and then he ends up leaving. And Leif Cassidy will stay around for a while in that gimmick, but this is it for Jannetty till his next go-around, however many years. Just one quick note on Furnace as well. He was a strongman, a power lifter from Oklahoma, and he actually had a little brief cup of coffee in WCW as well before they reunited in Japan in the early 90s. So.
Greeny, did you know anything about this team before you saw them?
Furnace and LaFon?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. I was familiar with them watching the ECW Weekly show. They were there probably maybe 2 months prior to this, and they had a couple of great matches against RVD and Sabu, which were they put RVD and Sabu to the test. Definitely really good matches.
I vaguely remember them in ECW because I was watching it. What was it?
They had a
MSG
cup of coffee.
like
they
3
had a
o'clock?
cup of coffee there, but they had a couple of TV matches, and very impressive.
Yeah. Now, I'm trying to remember, was it still 11 o'clock on Sunday nights, or were we already at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I think we were
then?
like 2 or 3 in the morning, and sometimes they won't even show it. They show like the Rangers Encore or something.
Oh, good God.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay. Well, that's good. So some ECW fans had a little taste of what to expect. This match goes on pretty long, almost 21 minutes. Good-sized Survivor match. Crowd was pretty hot and would stay hot throughout the whole night. JR, your overall thoughts just on this match?
I liked it a lot. I mean, I thought it was a really good opener, and the crowd was a little more up and down in this than you would expect, I thought, for an opener. But I think it's because they didn't really know what to expect from Furnace and LaFon, and the Godwins were the Godwins, so they didn't really have a team here to really rally behind. But I thought Furnace and LaFon really, I mean, just watching this match, you would have thought they were going to come in here and dominate for years. They look so good. And they have them defeat Bulldog and Owen at the end to win the match and be the sole survivor. So, I mean, they were clearly had things planned for them. And there's something about MSG, and we'll see over the years, where guys debut and get put over big in their first match. But, Owen and Bulldog really have no peers at this point in the tag division. So it's good to see another team brought in to give them some legit competition.
What are your thoughts about the tag division at this point, Greeny?
I think that it was establishing. This opening match was incredible. From Owen and Davey being the first two out, with the incredible New York Skyline entrance, to the teamwork between all four teams. I mean, even the Godwins, they're big guys, but they had really, really good chemistry with their opponents. I think Owen and Davey could have had some incredible matches with Furnace and LaFon. I'm sure they did, the house show circuit, probably a couple of matches, but definitely two really, really good teams.
And I was pretty stunned when they pinned Owen and Bulldog, but you think Vince JR had kind of a plan here with Furnace and LaFon, or? Yeah,
I think it's clear. I mean, I don't think they would have won this match the way they did if they didn't have plans for them. And the fact too that they gave them 20 minutes. This is a pretty loaded card. They had a lot to get to, and to give this match 20 minutes. And the last 6 or so were just LaFon and Furnace against Bulldog and Owen, so they gave them a good showcase as well. But they, they got 3 out of the 4 pins, and I think the only reason Henry pinned Jannetty was because his knee was messed up during the match. So I like. There's a lot of good talent in the ring, and say what you want about the Godwins, but they were fine brawlers. So, and the other 6 guys could go when it came to wrestling ability. So, a good opener, and I thought it was a great start to this show to get Furnace and LaFon established as well.
Yes, I think so too. And yeah, you're right. I mean, obviously we talked about at SummerSlam that the tag division was still a little shaky. It was really bad by SummerSlam, but it started to pick up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But this new team would get the better of the champs. Overall, this would actually start off would be a really great night of just actual wrestling. But
yes,
but you and I have talked about the fact that the athletic part of it is just totally stepped to the fore.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you're not talking about 8 work rate geniuses, but still, they worked. They worked the match pretty well. It's a good opener. It's a good spot for this match. And I didn't realize that. You made a good point. 21 minutes when we're not talking in your house one.
Yeah,
we're talking about a lot of stuff to go over tonight.
Yep.
So to give them 21 minutes is pretty impressive. Speaking of a lot of things to go over, our next match.
Well, one thing that's kind of off-putting in the opener, Marty Jannetty
Yes.
did not wear knee pads in this match, and I don't know why it bugs me. He just looks weird without them. Go ahead.
You're not the only person. I don't know about you, Greeny, but you're not the only person who finds wrestlers that don't wear knee pads odd. The silverback there, Rotellis, he never liked when Cody Rhodes didn't wear knee pads. Now he does. Are you one of those kind of guys, Greeny, that finds it like odd for wrestlers to not have like knee pads and taped fists and?
Yeah, it just makes them look, kind of awkward. I know, didn't Backlund go without knee pads? He was one of them, wasn't he?
Yes, he didn't go without knee pads. He didn't tape
Yeah.
his. I don't think he taped his hands either.
No.
Well, Jannetty has nothing taped here. He just has white boots, and I think it's the way the boots look. Is they're tight on your calves, so when you don't have knee pads on, it's just just weird looking. And I'm guessing that's probably partly why he ends up injuring his knee here. I bet he wishes he wore them.
So, all right. So Furnas and LaFon with a big splash to get into the World Wrestling Federation. They pin the tag team champions, British Bulldog and Owen Hart, to win the Survivor Series tag match. Surprised it wasn't bigger, but I mean, 20 minutes. I guess they were looking for less is more here. Then again, there probably weren't as many tag teams.
Right.
I don't think they try and squeeze anybody together. Pretty much that was everybody that they had. All right. Our next match is one of the, shall we say, 3 major feuds going on right now. This is one of them. This is unprecedented. Fourth pay-per-view match in a calendar year. Now for The Undertaker, he's pretty much faced the same guy the whole year. Two guys pretty much the whole year. This guy and Goldust.
And Diesel early, but
yeah, Diesel, and of course the match he had with Bret at the beginning of the year. But The Undertaker once again takes on Mankind. They've wrestled 3 times. Foley has 2 wins. Taker has 1 win. And he won, of course, the previous month at Buried Alive, even though he ended up getting actually buried. However, in a little twist of NWA-ishness, Paul Bearer was suspended above the ring in one of those little tiny cage things, reminiscent of the days in the 88-89 run of the Midnight Express when Jim Cornette used to be, before, of course, he put on 150 pounds.
yes, the cage could
although
only
honestly,
support him.
Yeah, well, this cage had obviously been double supported as well to put in Paul Bearer. But
And we talked about it last night on the Raw review, how about Cornette was booking at this time, so you wonder if he kind of played a role in making the stipulation happen.
yeah. Greeny, did you like this feud?
I did like the feud. This match, I expected a little bit more out of it. It was good. I don't know if you guys want to get into it right now, but Taker's entrance, incredible.
Yes. No, we were about to talk about that. Of course, he was actually buried in the dirt at Buried Alive, even though he did win the match. Pretty much burying that persona.
And I think he was off TV until this show.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I buzzed through those Raws, except the one we needed, on that tape, and I didn't see Taker in any of those shows.
I'm pretty sure,
he was on Raw.
I don't think he was. I think he shows up here with the new look, and that's part of the entrance that Jason was referencing.
Yes.
He all leather now, no more purple gloves, no gloves at all, really. I figured if he has like the little black MMA style gloves, yeah, but I'm pretty sure he's just got nothing going on, and he's got like a leather like bat costume almost on. And now no more goofy colors added on. He's pretty much just straight black here for a while. So
yes, yeah, and he kind of finally the perm. Well, the perm was kind of gone anyway, but the hair was just so long and scrag. I mean, he was definitely looking dark.
Yeah.
At this point, just the whole character, the whole ambiance, he was just dark at this point. Mankind took him down to his level. This feud is just so great, just for so many levels. And now you're at the point now where it's almost like Taker saying, "All right, you want me to come down to your level? I'll go even lower." And they just both are just so at another plane psychology-wise. You're not dealing with 2 work rate geniuses. We have those matches later on in the show. You're just dealing with 2 guys who just want to pummel the crap out of each other. And JR, you don't think even on the big stage at Madison Square Garden, the 4th match, you still think the feud had juice?
I think at Juice, I just think it's a little weird that they almost went backwards, and now they go to a match with no stips at all. I mean, the King of the Ring match was a straight match, but they really let them go all out. They brawled and used weapons and stuff. And then we get the Boiler Room Brawl, which is like an extreme gimmick. Then Buried Alive, which is another extreme gimmick. And now we just have a regular singles match between these two. So, I mean, it was just kind of weird how they went backwards with it. It's almost like they wanted to have them fight again, but they didn't want to do another major gimmick, but they didn't want to do anything else, so they just threw them out there. I guess the Paul in the cage is meant to be the gimmick, but I think it definitely still had juice. I don't think I was bored with it. And honestly, it pretty much ends here for a little bit. They'll tussle in one way or another at December, but after that, they take a few months apart from each other.
Yeah, I probably wanted to, rejuice things, and obviously Taker was set for something else down the line, which we'll of course get to as we turn to 1997. What did you think? What do you think of that theory by J.R. Greeny? Do you think that they kind of maybe that's why you didn't like the match as much as you thought because it kind of went backwards in terms of the booking and the style, like kind of going back to straight match? Maybe you were looking for a little more violence.
Yeah, I think JR nailed it. They just didn't have that same spark as the previous matches. To me, it's almost like how they did, to go back in time a little bit, it's almost like how they did WrestleMania 1. I think the tag match at WrestleMania 1 should have happened at the War to settle the score. Hogan-Piper should have happened at WrestleMania. They kind of did everything backwards.
And then they tried to redo it at the Wrestling Classic, and that
right.
That match ended up being a
mess.
anyway.
And honestly, the match itself isn't bad for just being a straight match between these two. I think Jay's right; it's lacking some of that juice that you want to see. But I thought the match itself actually wasn't that bad for considering that these two going 15 minutes with no gimmick and no weapons or anything.
Exactly. I thought it was pretty good as well. Once again, anytime you have a match at the Garden, regardless of how the actual match is laid out,
I don't do any tricks.
You're lucky. Couldn't even get in the door. This is way out of your league, pal. Way out of your league. The size of the cockroaches and the rats in this city, you'd have no chance. They'd look at you and go, "Ha! Look at that guy in the pink polo. Ah, we're not scared of a guy on a trampoline." But for the second straight month, we get some interference. It happened at Buried Alive, and it happens here. Taker wins. But for the second straight month, the Executioner makes his appearance. And as he tries to go after Paul Bearer in the little cage, the Executioner comes in and takes out Taker. We talked about who the Executioner was, and 12 years was the last time that Terry Gordy walked into Madison Square Garden. That was, of course, when the Freebirds made their very brief and sometimes forgettable jaunt through the World Wrestling Federation in 1984. And, of course, they left and went back to Texas. But Terry Gordy is here in his little whatever, his S&M black mask or whatever that thing was.
Yeah, the mask is pretty fucked up looking. I will say that.
Yeah, fairly creepy. Do you have any memories of the Freebirds, Greeny, throughout your time watching wrestling? You knew who Terry Gordy was?
At the time, the only exposure that I had to Terry Gordy, I think it was in 1992. They had a tag title tournament, and Dr. Death and Terry Gordy were in it. I believe they were in the finals.
They won it. Yep.
They
did win it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would watch WCW from time to time back then, but I was actually glued during that whole tag title tournament, and I believe it was the Steiners maybe who they fought in the finals.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
I just watched that too. I'm trying to remember that myself. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, because they were unifying because Gordy and Williams won the NWA tag titles in Japan and then came back, and these were the WCW tag titles, so they actually unified the belts. I'm trying to think. I think this was that like 2-year stretch between 91 and 93 where like every title would be vacated in some way, shape, or form, but I think these were vacated too. I don't think Gordy and Williams actually lost, but in any event, here Gordy with his crazy Friday the 13th Part 2 Jason mask on, one eye. I think there's only one eye hole. I think.
No, there were 2 eyes.
Yeah, but anyway, he takes out Taker as Taker's trying to get to Paul Bearer in the cage,
and
now the series is tied at 2 matches apiece.
Yes, and this is the cleanest victory of them all so far.
Yes, yeah, this was pretty. I don't want to say decisive. It was a good brawl, but there was no shenanigans at the end. Taker beat Mankind.
I really think this was meant to be like the blow off of their feud. I mean, Taker does face Executioner at our next show, but I think for Taker and Mankind, as far as matches go, this was meant to kind of bring a close to that feud for now.
Yeah, I think so too. Obviously, as we'll we will go over the next few vaults. Taker was in line for bigger things. We think. Actually, probably not. I think that's what we'll need Kevin Kelly for the next time around.
Yes.
Because we really can't even predict anything over the next 4 months.
No.
what the hell's going on? So, but Undertaker gets his win over Mankind. We'll say that they were trying to end the feud because you're right, it was fairly decisive. So, and again, after 4 pretty solid pay-per-view matches, Taker and Mankind are 2-2 in 1996. All right. Next up, back to the Survivor Series format. Were you happy, JR, that they continued? I want to ask both of you guys, you and Greeny. Were you happy that they stuck with the Survivor format?
Yeah, I think it was a good thing, especially now with the revamped mid card. You have a lot of guys that you can work into these matches. I mean, I don't think there's any stretches really in any of these matches. Maybe a couple later, but it's good to see. I think Survivor Series is at its best when you have a healthy mix of Survivor matches and a couple title matches or feuds. So I think that's when it's at its best. I loved the Survivor style, but I was never crazy when it was all Survivor matches with nothing else because it felt almost like an exhibition show. And then when they went radically the other way and had no Survivor matches, I felt like it lost that luster, and it just felt like another show and instead of standing out. So I like the mix. I like the hybrid where they have a few Survivor matches and then mixed in with other big matches as well.
Greeny, your thought? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with JR on that. You know, at this time they were trying to develop all these characters. Everybody had a gimmick. Everybody had a different look, kind of like in '89 and '90, where everyone was colorful. And why not? Why not? Pimp everybody on one show and show all the wrestling fans what you got.
Yeah, and I think for this crowd, and obviously with this match, the other main reason for doing these Survivor matches is we had some debuts. Obviously, we had Furnace and LaFon in the opener, and we have a big debut in this pay-per-view debut in this match. All right, let's do the heel team first. Or do you need me to do the face team first? Or are you going to play Victoria and David Beckham's wedding song now?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, I just want to make sure that
you're the queen of non sequiturs. So you just go off in these directions, and it's like you have this thing that's like conversation set in your head. And
did you just try to look up non sequitur before you?
No, I know what non sequitur means, jackass. I'm just saying it seems like you get these things set up in your head, but no one knows what the hell you're talking about, so it just kind of gets lost in the dead air. And I think Greenhouse backs me up because he made no comment as you rambled on aimlessly.
I know you like to just turn the whole nation against me.
I don't have to turn anyone against you. It's
really. So this is like I'm JR. So should I just get up and leave then?
Well,
I can do that if you like.
Anyone really complain?
Really? Oh. Okay, Greeny. Floor's yours.
Yes.
No, it's not. Shut up. All right.
I was gonna say, don't worry. He can't make it far anyway with that bulky back of his. He's not going far.
All right. Let's look at the heel team.
All right, let's do it.
We have Crush.
I will never find another lover sweeter than you, sweeter than you. And I will never find another lover more precious than you, more precious than you.
Go to Crush, brother.
Yeah. No, I don't have that kind of relationship with a guy in orange and lavender tights. Although I wonder if Helmsley would have... Never mind. Anyway, my betrothed and the World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I like saying that. A little title in front of it. The King, Jerry Lawler, so he obviously got up from the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was just Vince and JR.
No, Sonny joins them.
Sonny joins them, okay. Yes. And, speaking of that sound effect you just made, was Goldust... I'll ask you this, Greeny, because JR and I have talked about this the last couple shows. At this point in 96, did you think that Goldust, not to pardon the pun, losing his luster at this point in 96?
A little bit, but the character I think was still over, and I think that he still had a lot to prove. He just kind of got mixed up in the shuffle a little bit, in the mid-card shuffle.
Well, I think that obviously proves JR's point about the mid-card just getting so loaded now with all these new guys, and after he lost to Ahmed at King of the Ring, to Moadib, he just kind of like melded into the whole Taker thing, and now they really wasn't sure where he was going to go. But he kind of rights the ship a little bit in by the end of the year and into 97. So That's the longest you've ever let that go. All right, so we've Goldust.
I can't hear the song without picturing Rotella swaying and singing it.
Oh, God.
Like a 1998 throwback Spice Girls, Casey and JoJo.
Oh, God. Matt Rotella's a throwback to I don't know what. So, okay. So we have...
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
I'd like to see him dance to that. I don't know, maybe Mike straighten his back.
98th
Anyway.
row. All right, we'll have to come up with some different 98 songs throughout the show here.
Okay. All right, Goldust, the World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Jerry the King Lawler, and Crush, who is not Kona Crush anymore. He's certainly not wearing the bright orange and lavender.
He's like a prison Mike on The Office when Michael Scott does his prison invitation. Now we have Prison Crush.
Yes.
Hey, yo, this is Prison Crush here. I used to be in Demolition, but now they kicked me out because I'm a prisoner. I'm coming out of prison to fight you.
The last time Crush was in this building was the last time the World Wrestling Federation had pay-per-view in this building, and that was, of course, WrestleMania 10, when Crush was hogtied by the
LaRue style.
That's right. By wow, it had to be pretty sturdy scaffolding. By the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Is it considered hog tying if you're laying on the ground and your legs and hands are in the air?
And not hooked to a spit. Oh, good God.
We're just going to do like a mid-90s soundtrack under the whole show.
Could you at least play something good? Jeez. Okay. This is a longer stretch for well, there's another guy on the babyface side that's been even longer at Madison Square Garden than Crush. Let's get to those guys. Of course, Mark Morrow on the babyface side. A guy we talked about last night, JR, on Raw, the Stalker.
Bum, 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 bum.
That is Barry Windham.
Dun, 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 dun.
Who was last at Madison Square Garden. Well, on pay-per-view, we have to go all the way back to a show Greeny just referred to a short time ago, WrestleMania 1.
Yes, I'm sure he was on. He must have been on there for a house show since then or something.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But at least, obviously, the last pay-per-view was WrestleMania. Hey, are you saying that to Wyndham? Because he's the one that pissed you off. So, Jake the Snake, who I forgot was even here.
I wasn't, Daddy. Why are you on the show? You wasn't supposed to be on the show, Daddy. Why'd you show up and take Mark Henry's spot? I don't care if he was injured. He should have been in there anyway. He'd make all that money. Did you get a contract from him? Did he sign over his proceeds to you, Daddy, so you could buy me some fucking chocolate for me and my boyfriend to eat on the beach?
Speaking of hogtied. And now...
Daddy, why is this your final pay-per-view appearance? Did you know that? I know you're in the Royal Rumble, but this is it for all-time singles record. Your record was 9-17-1. What the fuck is that, Daddy? You should have been at least 500 or better. How are you 0-7 at the Royal Rumble? I was 4-3 at the Royal Rumble, and my boyfriend Derek LaRue is undefeated in Royal Rumble matches on our fucking PlayStation 3. Actually participating in the Rumble match every time. Anyone can do that. That's nothing. Tito Santana did that 800 times in a row, Daddy. Fucking loser. I hate you. Fuck you, Daddy. 3-4-1 at WrestleMania. King Kong Bundy had a better record than you, you fucking loser. I hate you so much. 1-1 at King of the Ring. God's sakes, it was all in the same show. It shouldn't even count as separate records, Dad. 2-1 at SummerSlam, 3-2 at Survivor Series. I guess that includes your fucking pathetic performance here too, huh? Why don't you go cut yourself and bleed yourself out in a bathtub? Fuck you, Daddy. And you're 0-2 at other pay-per-views. I love you, though.
You know, speaking of King Kong Bundy, if you shave her head and put a black singlet on...
Think that's funny, Greenhouse? I'm gonna send my boyfriend over to beat you up. He'll lather up his sugar tits and stick your face in them. Choke you out, Taz style.
I think we do need to have No Doubt back on again.
Real
Okay,
cleavage
anyway.
Sweat, yummy.
All right, let's move on to the babyface debut.
I hope you like to eat lint, because there's a lot of it in there.
Jesus Christ. Can we please get to the babyface debut, please? Go.
Have you ever had double D's slammed across your face, Greenhouse? Do you know what that's like? Just having them slapped back and forth?
Honey, there's a zag nut out in the hallway. Why don't you go eat it?
Motorboarding LaRue. Ugh.
I'm mad about him all day.
Oh, God, stop it. I got to take more Dayquil. Anyway, why don't we get into the next debut?
Gaza is jealous of our love.
There's a lot of it, too. All right. Greenie, I'm going to give you the floor while she goes and eats the ham out of my freezer.
You have ham? Do you have mustard I can put on it?
Greenie, What is the debut on the babyface team here?
The debut is Rocky Maivia.
Who?
What? Well, that was talking about LaRue. That was a straight up LaRue soundbite there, Scott. You better watch it.
Who?
Now he's gonna think this is actually something funny to say, so he's gonna keep doing it endlessly.
Not at all. Anytime you mention LaRue, it's certainly nothing funny. Who was Rocky Maivia? Greenie.
Oh, I gotta pull up some information here.
We're gonna go, Scott. You invite this guy on, you bring him on as a contest winner, and you put him on the spot, throw him in the fire.
Just giving him an opportunity, that's all.
What, for your spot? That's my spot.
You'll give my spot to anybody, for Christ's sakes. I certainly don't trust you.
Quoted for truth.
So, anyway, Rocky Maivia. Let's talk more about the Stalker. And again, Barry Windham was not in...
Let's have a little 1998 musical interlude.
Yes.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
All right, Green, you ready or what?
Pulling up here in just 1 second here.
Dun, 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 dun.
Anyway, Crush, we didn't really finish Crush. We just got cut off.
I finished Crush last night.
And he's giving me shit.
I'm all over this match. It's my match.
Crush had a scrape.
I finished off Mr. Faf, too, behind the FedEx box.
There's a rumor that apparently you are the date as the winner of the trivia tournament. Forget the DVDs.
I'm too much woman for one man.
It is
even if it's a very large man, like my boyfriend.
It is at Golden Corral, though.
I love Golden Corral, but I fucking hate you. Fuck you, Scotty.
You want to stick LaRue into the Chocolate Wonderfall. We know.
I'm going to stick LaRue everywhere.
All right. Greedy, please find something.
Okay, here we go.
All right, yes.
All right, I'm going to give the
Rocky
background on
Maivia.
Rocky Maivia.
Rocky Maivia, real name Dwayne Johnson. Along with his father and grandfather, several members of the Johnson family are current and former wrestlers themselves, including his uncles, the Wild Samoans Afa and Sika, his cousins Manu, Yokozuna, Rikishi, Rosie, and Umaga. When he declared his intention to join the family business, his father resented, but agreed to train his son. And along with veteran wrestler Pat Patterson, Johnson had several tryouts with WWF in 1996. He defeated the Brooklyn Brawler at a house show under his real name, Dwayne Johnson.
That's interesting.
And then lost another dark match to Chris Candido and Owen Hart. Impressed by his talent and charisma, Johnson was signed to a contract after wrestling at Jerry Lawler's United States Wrestling Association, where he went under the name Flex Cavana. While there, he won the USWA Tag Team Championship twice with Bart Sawyer in the summer of 1996, which I guess will take us right into when he signed with the WWE in the later part of 1996.
Yes.
And it's interesting. Dwayne Graham doesn't have any Dwayne Johnson matches in 94, 95, or 96, so I wonder where that came from.
Interesting. And of course, he does have a national championship under his belt at the University of Miami in 1991 under Dennis Erickson. So there's your team. Mark Marrow, the Stalker, Rocky Maivia, and Jake the Snake Roberts against Crush, Jerry the King Lawler, the World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and Goldust.
If you want more on Rocky Maivia's early days, so listen to our Kevin Kelly stuff interview from last night.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff in there that he talks about, because he was heavily linked to The Rock, or Rocky Maivia as he was here, early on. He did a lot of those little personality profile interviews with him, and it was kind of, they almost came in, not only they came in together, but they were definitely linked for a while.
Yes, they were. And he obviously comes out with his, big, full of exuberance and excitement, with his big, floofy hair and his little, his little outfit with his little tassels, and he got a decent pop from the audience, but you could tell that this character was probably...
He looked in over his head, honestly. Like, I know Kevin Kelly and others keep saying, oh, he looked like he had it, he knew it, and he had it. And I'm sure he did, because even as a college football standout, something you always hear about him was his attitude and his charisma. But he looked overmatched in this gimmick when he came out. He just looked like someone who was almost like deer in headlights in a way.
Greeny, what did you think? What did you think when he came out? Did you get that same kind of feeling? Kind of fish out of water.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was brought in as a fan favorite, and I think he was a little too fan favorite. They did an interview with him before the match, and he gave the typical, babyface promo. He's going to give 110%, and he's not going to let his team down. So, I mean, you don't get any more babyface than that. And I think it was a little bit too much fan favorite out of him that night.
Almost like he was a year too.
Hard.
Yeah, almost like he was a year too late.
Right.
He probably would have fit in 1995 when Vince was still kind of
he had like
sugaring.
that. He had like that Jim Powers enthusiasm. Going.
Yes.
Opening match. I'm going to job to, Tony Gurria look to him.
That's funny. I was stunned that this was actually a pay-per-view I watched live. I didn't watch many live shows in '96, but I did watch this one. I was stunned that Jake was around to actually be in this match. Obviously, Mark Henry would suffer what would be the first of a few major injuries, and he would be out for a full year. I'm trying to remember what the injury was. I don't remember. Maybe a shoulder. Let me see if Graham has anything about it.
It was something. Fuck. I knew it too. No, I can't think of what it was.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a shoulder. It was. I mean, it keeps him out for a year, so something kind of significant. Although I know he was healed for a little bit, and they still had him go down to developmental to work out the kinks a little bit.
Yeah. But anyway, he was gone for a while. So Jake still he's probably sleeping under next to the bus, the city bus outside the garden. Jake, wake up! You want to get in? Chocolate or something? Okay. So he gets in the match, and again, another good, solid, 24-minute elimination match. Crush gets a big push here with a couple of pins. What do you think about Mero at this point? I know Kevin Kelly talked about him. What did you think, JR, about Mero's stance here? I mean, we talked about how he's just kind of floating around and the whole curtain call thing kind of messed him, but now here he is again, highly profile and kind of jobs out.
It's a story from A to Z. You wanna get with me? You gotta listen carefully. We got.
They could have lasted longer in this match, but he did pin Helmsley, though. He did pin the Intercontinental
Odd. I thought that was odd. It's like they finally are getting behind Helmsley. You give him the IC title win, and then Mero beats him here. So, I don't know. They picked weird times to job Mero throughout this year, and they pick odd times to give him wins as well. So, Mero's just kind of there. He's had a weird year. He jobbed a lot in the middle in the pay-per-views. And then he shows up late in the year here. He's back in this feud with Helmsley, pins him here, and they fight again at its time, as we'll see. So it's just, I mean, I thought in the ring he was cranking along without ever missing a beat. Every match he put on, he was like the TV workhorse of '96. I think every match he put on was always solid. He wrestled a lot. Character-wise, though, they seemed a little lost with him. It's like they wanted to give him the title, but they didn't, and they had him in this feud. And then by the time it was maybe time to give him the title again, he kind of gets hurt and peters out. So it's just, I don't know. He's just in a weird spot.
It is in a weird spot. Greeny, what did you think of, while you're watching this match, seeing Crush use such a terribly bad finisher as a heart punch?
Yeah, I never understood why they gave him that finisher. It just didn't seem like it fit. They could have still gone with the head crush thing, whatever it was called, that he used when he was the babyface Crush. It just didn't fit him.
Wasn't it weird, JR? You figure they should have come up with something, he's like this prison grizzled guy now. He could have come up with something a little more, visually violent instead of, let's punch him in the chest.
If you want to use that on my boyfriend, you have to lift up his man boob and then punch him in the heart. I'll tell you, he won't feel it. I don't know. Yeah, it was a weird finisher. I don't know. Goldust actually used it when he first debuted at house shows and stuff, and then they switched to the curtain call. But I don't know. It's like they brought it back every couple of years in the 90s. I think Vince had a weird infatuation with the heart punch. Is that what Well, who's his idol? Jerry Graham or whatever? I feel like someone who was one of his idol growing up used that move or something, and that's why he always had guys use it. But yeah,
I think it was Jerry Graham.
Yeah, I mean it's a stupid move, but
yeah, that's what Stan the Man Stasiak used to win the world title in that building, Madison Square Garden, when he defeated Pedro Morales. He used the heart punch. That was back when it was a cool finisher. Oh, so many moons ago.
According to Wikipedia, Jerry Graham used a diving knee drop and a swinging neck breaker, so I don't think it was him. Well, who did the mandible claw first? Didn't someone else use that? Was that Jerry Graham?
That was the mandible claw. No, Killer Kowalski did the
he did the stomach
claw
claw
over the face.
Yeah, no, he did the stomach claw.
He did the stomach claw.
Correct.
Yeah.
God, don't you remember that from Seinfeld, Greeny? Remember?
Yeah, that's right. Didn't Kramer referenced that?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember who actually had the. Stan Stasiak was the only one that I remember having the heart punch at any other.
No, maybe it's him I'm thinking of then. I don't know. Maybe it's not Jerry Graham.
So in the end, though, our effervescent babyface, Rocky Maivia, is alone with two grizzled veterans in Crush and Goldust.
Ox Baker used the heart punch as well.
Yes. Yes, he did. And he was not in this match. Could have brought him back. Probably in decent shape. Probably, I don't know. Although he was kind of old when we saw him. I don't know how old he was.
And this is the place that I want to be.
Yes, he is. I'm actually wearing the T-shirt right now. So, Maivia, 2-on-1 with
He's
two
not my
veterans.
Via. He's your Via.
Your Via. He's everyone's Via. And in the span of 31 seconds, takes out both of them. He beats Crush with a crossbody, and then, using his football wherewithal, beats Goldust with a running shoulder breaker. And
yes, that was his finisher early on as well. Kind of nondescript for a nondescript guy, honestly.
Yeah, fairly. But he gets the big win, so he is the survivor. So at least here, on this show so far, at least Vince is pushing the new talent. You know, Furnace and LaFon, and now Maivia.
I mean, they clearly had big things planned for Maivia as well. I mean, I don't think they would have had him be a sole survivor in this match without it. I mean, they could have easily went with Mero or Helmsley to sole survive if they wanted to go with just one guy. So, interesting choice, and I think it's fitting. It's almost like a statement saying here in Madison Square Garden, this guy whose father wrestled here so many times now comes in and wins this match on his own. And another long match, 24 minutes. I don't know how they fit this little show in here. Every match was like over 20 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much. So, Rocky Maivia joins Furnace and LaFon in huge debuts, just like Moadib a year before, is the survivor in his debut pay-per-view match. All right, time to get down to the nitty-gritty now. The match, I think, one of the matches that the three of us have most been looking forward to talking about, because JR and I have found the build for this unbelievable, and now we're getting the big payoff. Stone Cold Steve Austin, who has relentlessly been badgering and cajoling and baiting and baiting and baiting Bret the Hitman Hart to come out of his exile and face him in the ring. Well, that's exactly what happened. And for the first time since walking out of the pond, pissed off and grizzled, Bret the Hitman Hart returns to the site where his greatest triumph was 2 years earlier to take on Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Austin had just been relentless on Bret Hart, relentless on the mic ever since SummerSlam, leading into Mind Games, and of course we all heard the fallout, the gun incident on last night's Raw review. Before that, we had a face-to-face with him and Bret, both in studio. Well, Bret was at home and Austin was in studio. Austin had also assaulted Brian Pillman on Superstars and broke his ankle because Pillman dared to mention Bret Hart's name, and Austin was just basically, he admitted he was looking to make a name for himself and he wanted to take out Bret Hart to do it. And Bret Hart makes his way back. This is his first match since WrestleMania 12 on U.S. soil. Anyway, he had wrestled a couple matches on the European and South African tour, but this is his first U.S. match for WWF since WrestleMania 12. So, I mean, I was hyped big time coming to this match. I thought the build was fantastic. Bret wasn't even on that much. He was on that one night after Mind Games where he announced that he was back for good. And then as well. They did, they showed him like on Raw a couple times, like scouting Austin, but he didn't really do much as far as build goes. They just let them both cut promos on each other, building up to the match, which obviously worked well because they're both great talkers. So, but I remember being really, really pumped up for this one. How about you, Jason?
I loved it. Bret's interview that he had before the match, saying Madison Square Garden isn't a church, but it's holy ground. Incredible. The pop that he got when he came out, once again, incredible. I think that the break that he got between Mania and Survivor Series did him good. That way, the fans don't get burned out on him. He was still their top babyface, and the time off just kind of gave everyone time to, get refreshed and remember exactly who Bret the Hitman Hart is.
Yep, I agree. I think you put it very well. That time off really, really helped recharge his batteries. And he thought about it. Should I leave? Should I go to WCW? Should I come back here to WWF? And he did. And Vince gave him that 20-year contract that you heard Kevin Kelly give the details on. Basically a lifetime contract, knowing that Vince couldn't pay him the big money over a short time, but Bret would rather stay in WWF knowing that his character was there, that was his home, and not jump to WCW. So, he comes back with a bang, obviously, and he delivers another stellar match. And it's funny that the WrestleMania 12 Iron Man gets all the love as far as match of the year, but I think this one blows that match away.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I almost think, we'll talk about another encounter they have in a few months, but I almost think that this match might be the best of all of them.
This might be Bret's best match ever. Honestly, when we get to WrestleMania, we'll talk about that one. But even before this, and the two matches of Bulldog are probably the ones we look at as being the closest to his best match, and maybe perfect at Kingdom Ring '93. But I don't know. This may be it, at least till this point, anyway.
What's so great about this is that it's almost like a two-part feud. On the first part, you've got two guys who, let's be honest, they weren't even in the same building,
right?
To build to this show, they weren't even in the same building for 90% of this feud. It was all about the two of them having to support the feud.
And honestly,
on their own.
It was almost more Austin was probably 70% of the heavy lifting because he had been doing this for months. Right. And Bret got in late when they did the face-to-face studio interview, and then a couple other things here and there. But Austin was really doing all the heavy lifting in this feud, and he pretty much set this up on his own. And it worked. It worked well. They gave him almost a half hour, 28 and a half minutes. And it's clean. It's clean as a whistle, clean as a sheet. They don't have any nonsense, any frills, nothing. They just go out there and tear the house down. And I just wanted to play one quick Austin promo that led up to this match.
Pink tights. What the hell is that all about, Bret? Ballet class. Sunglasses and sparklers. What a load of crap. So, Bret, you're coming back to continue a legacy? Stone Cold's going to make your comeback a living hell. You can start begging for some mercy right now. Beg for mercy. You're not going to find it. I think you're completely pathetic. You're the best there is, was, and ever will be. Whatever. Son, you're looking at the best there is. Austin 316 rules. I will kick your pink and black ass all over the garden. I'm going to end your legacy. You will beg for mercy. Bret, the whole world knows that you quit the WWF because you lost to Shawn Michaels. The pretty boy toy kicked your ass back to Canada. You couldn't face yourself, and you damn sure couldn't face you ran away in shame. You should have picked another time to come back, son. No sexy when the bell rings and it's time to get down to business, I'm going to take 7 years of frustration and being pissed off out on your ass. Think about it like this, Bret. You can finally go home, look yourself in the mirror, and get a little peace of mind because you will know you were indeed beaten by a real man.
I ain't no sexy boy. I don't dance. But what I do is play basketball with midgets. That was fantastic. Like I said, he was selling this thing on his own. And, there's a lot of iconic shots in that promo. Of course, that's him in the alley with the dogs barking and all the crushing the egg and all that stuff that they used for his eventual Titantron video. I want to see if you guys agree with me. I think a big part of Austin's success, besides the language and the way he was booked, to me was confidence. Like, this is a guy that never seemed to stutter, to slip up, to sound like he didn't know what he was talking about. He never sounded confused. He always sounded like very confident in his ability and what he was going to do, what he was going to say. And he was just believable because what he said came out like he believed it. Like he never sounded like he was reading lines or giving direction. It just sounded like him talking. And he just was a very confident guy that knew what he wanted to say and got the point across. You guys agree?
I totally agree. I was gonna say character development, but confidence is definitely a good word to use. 1996 was all about bringing in everybody with characters and gimmicks, and you talk about character development. Austin is the perfect template for that.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who never had the opportunity to say what he wanted to say through all those years. The years he was in WCW. He had managers. He had Paul E., and then he had, he was with Pillman, so he kind of had to share the spotlight there. And
he was a Colonel Robert Parker.
And it was Colonel Robert Parker. So he always had guys that needed to speak for him. No one even thought he could talk. And all those years of wanting to just speak his mind, and Vince was and us as WWF fans were the fortunate bearers of such angst and frustration, and that's why he believed it. He believed it because it was true.
But it's crazy because, I mean, would they have gone this far with him, or was it the curtain call? We have to thank for all of this. You know what I mean? Like, does he never get that King of the Ring shot, and does he never start doing this kind of speaking and this gimmick stuff without that?
That's definitely something to debate over. I mean, as far as the promos and the cutting edge language, us people who were fortunate enough to watch him at ECW the couple of months that he was there, he gave us a little sample of what he was all about, with just all the frustration that he built up between the Monday Night Quill promo and Please Forgive Me Eric promo, which are all available on the 4-disc Austin DVD. But it was just so cutting edge, and you can just tell the frustration in him. He was pouring his heart out to every single one of those interviews.
I think my favorite, the Monday Night Quill one is good, but I think my favorite ECW one is when he makes fun of Dusty.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Not for you, baby. That's for someone else. But yeah, that's why it's so believable, JR, is because he's been wanting to say this for 7 years. He's telling you, I've been pissed off for 7 years, and that's no lie.
Right.
He has been pissed off for 7 years. As for this opportunity, I shudder to think what Bret would have gotten. I don't even know if Bret would have been as motivated to come back if he didn't have a great opponent like this staring across the ring for him at the Garden. I mean, would he have gotten the title shot instead of Sid? Would they have had the rematch there?
No, I don't think so. I think they would have maybe put him back with Owen or Bulldog or something and picked that back up. He could have put him with Vader. I mean, Mankind. There's other guys that could have used if they wanted to end the Taker thing sooner. I mean, Goldust even. There were guys that could have picked.
Right. But I don't know if any of them could have pulled off the
no way
the pulling and needling Bret and poking him with a stick.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
The way that Austin did. And so that's part one. The character development and the promos. And then the minute the bell rings, you realize, holy shit, these guys are about to deliver.
Yep.
It isn't all just lip service and bloviating. It's these two guys know their shit. I mean, every move you can tell that this match was so careful, meticulously laid out. I don't want to say it was planned.
No, yeah.
But
it's tight, too. Like,
yeah, exactly.
They don't wrestle loose. They beat the crap out of each other, and everything is just crisp and stiff. Like the superplex he hits is just stiff, and every punch and every kick, and nothing looks weak or worked. Everything's solid.
Yeah, exactly. And in the end, I mean, the ending is just so, like, you needed to find a creative way for Bret to win this match. You didn't want to have, obviously, you didn't want Austin to tap out.
Oh, definitely not.
And there's no other way to, well, obviously, there was no other way to use the sharpshooter. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Get to that another day. So they do this kind of weird thing where Austin kind of reverts back to the $1 Million Dream, kind of the continuity from when he was the ringmaster, if you will. Yeah, I should be laughing at that because that gimmick sucked. And what I love, and if you're a fan, I mean, the three of us obviously been fans a long time. Maybe some of the younger fans may not have realized watching at the time that Bret did kind of reuse his WrestleMania 8 finish, where he ran up the turnbuckles and did the little flip, and he caught Austin kind of in the wrong spot and got the 3 count out of it. I mean, it was incredible. Even the ending is incredible because only an ingenious work rate marvel could have pulled off a.
Well, don't forget too, it's a throwback to WrestleMania 8 with Roddy Piper. Same
That's
finish.
What I'm saying, yeah. Yep, exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, the younger fans obviously couldn't have may not have remembered it, but obviously only 4.5 years earlier. But with that all said, when you took a deep breath, Greeny, what were you thinking when this match ended?
When it ended, I think that what Bret and Shawn did in an hour and 5 minutes, hour and 6 minutes, these guys did in 28 minutes. A masterpiece.
Yep. I agree. I gave this 5 stars. First time I put 5 stars on a match on our review in a while. And they deserved it. The question was, you knew there'd be a rematch. You weren't sure when, but you knew there would be.
I don't get to answer what I was thinking when it ended. This greenhouse.
What's that?
Well, Scott, he asked you what you thought as soon as the match ended. He didn't ask me. I have some poignant comments, I thought.
Oh, okay. Well, JR, what were you thinking when the match ended?
I was pissed. I really wanted Austin to win. I remember being really upset about it.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he needed the win more, and I felt Bret coming back and beating him. And don't forget, I mean, they were booking Austin well, but there was no guarantee that he was going to continue to get this push. And the way WWF was booked at this time, I didn't know where they were headed with a multi-man main event scene. So this, to me, felt like Bret's going to beat Austin. Austin's going back to the mid-card again. Bret's going to get right back into the world title picture with Shawn and whoever else. And that's exactly what it felt like to me, and I was upset because I thought Austin's push was going to end here, and this was kind of the end of the feud. I mean, it felt like that, honestly, at the time, that night anyway.
I didn't think about it. I didn't think that as much because of the way the match ended. If Austin had tapped out to the sharpshooter, then I agree with your theory 100%. I didn't totally think that because the match ended and the way it did, and then Austin came out, stopped.
Yeah, but it could have just been.
Yeah,
but it could have just been that they wanted to, save Austin a little bit and not necessarily continue the feud. They just didn't want him to job or tap out because they wanted to keep him somewhat strong. But I don't think it was a guarantee that the feud was going to continue on because he beat him that way.
No, I don't know. I didn't feel that way when the match ended. I thought, oh, okay, well, Bret outsmarted him. And that was okay because Austin was the younger guy and he was hungrier and, maybe he was in a little better fighting shape since he'd been wrestling throughout the year. But Bret was still the veteran. Bret was the former world champion. Then he pulled a rabbit out of his hat. And so I wasn't as angry as you were. I had a feeling that the feud was actually going to continue.
What do you think, Jay? Did you feel the same way, or do you side with Scott on that, thinking it was obvious that it was continuing?
No, I thought it was going to continue, and I was pretty satisfied that that Bret won. Like I said, his rest between WrestleMania and Survivor Series did him good. I love the way that Austin was coming along. I love the character, but I mean, I grew up watching Bret Hart, and I love the guy. So, and I did have a feeling that this is not going to be it with these two. We have 2 big major pay-per-views coming up in the next 4 or 5 months, and I thought something's going to happen at one of these 2 pay-per-views that's just going to blow this match away or come close.
Yeah, but according to legend, and we'll talk to Kevin about this when we have him back on before WrestleMania, I don't know if they were set to fight again on pay-per-view for a while, because I don't think that was not the original plan for WrestleMania when they have their rematch. So, maybe it wasn't going to continue.
Well, when we get to not our next week's pay-per-view, but the one after that, I thought the wheels were in motion for it again.
Well, I think he was
February.
Right.
So.
I think he was always going to be a thorn in his side, and there was going to be an ongoing nemesis. But I didn't think it was. It didn't seem like they had another major match planned at that time because Mania wasn't supposed to be that. So.
Right. Well, we will discuss what does happen down the line because
yes.
Obviously we don't. At this point, who the hell even knows?
No, at this point, I personally just was upset. I did not like that Bret just came back. Like I said, I just felt a little almost too same old, same old. And I was so into Austin at this point, like ridiculously. And I mean, I never wanted him to lose. I wanted him to be on TV every week, killing everyone. So I was upset that he lost his match.
Yeah, I mean, I was upset he lost, but at the same time, I knew there was more to come. I felt positive based on the way that.
I mean, I'll say this though: it was good to have that much concern again. You know, to care that this guy that I was really into lost. I mean,
yeah,
you know, we hadn't had characters like this in a while. So
no, absolutely, and again, another guy that WCW didn't know what the hell to do with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. After that unbelievably awesome spectacle in the Garden, we have our one hiccup on this entire show. Our one legitimate hiccup. Our final Survivor Series style match of the
Hey, PTB Nation, it is now time for the Rob Houston Memorial Hacksaw Jim Duggan Update.
All right, sure, it's step aside. I got this. Isn't it free peel and eat shrimp night at the Golden Corral or something? Cocktail sauce eating slob. All right, November 5th, 1996, Gainesville, Georgia, WCW Saturday Night Tapings. TV champion Lord Steven Regal defeated Jim Duggan by disqualification. Also that night at the Saturday Night Tapings, Jim Duggan defeated The Gambler. Down to November 24th, 1996, World War III pay-per-view in Norfolk, Virginia. Jim Duggan competed in a 3-ring, 60-man battle royal. And that is your Hacksaw Jim Duggan update.
It's more like Born Steven Regal, motherfucker!
So sometimes I do get a little apprehensive. But then right before I go through the curtain, I got the American flag over my shoulder.
Can't believe you actually got to play the Spice Girls and the WrestleMania the album in the same show.
It's a great show. It's a great night. Historic night.
You got what you wanted in the end. Greenie, are you proud of yourself? You thrilled? You actually got to do a...
In the place, you liked it in your face. You got G like MC, you liked it on a easy V. You doesn't come for free. She's the real lady. And as for me, how you'll say.
Scott, I'm thrilled. I have my bucket list right in front of me, and I can cross that one off now.
I thought only Cawthon had that on his bucket list. Jesus God. Good Lord. All right. Although I will give my PIC credit, he is timing these better because usually puts him right in front of god-awful crap matches on these pay-per-views. So his timing's getting a lot better. All right, the one hiccup of this show, our final Survivor-style match of the night. Let's do the heels. We've got the Mastodon, Vader, who suddenly is just totally melded into the friggin' crowd.
Oh, God, I know, right? From where he was to go down to this match was just definitely odd.
Yeah, very, very sad. If it is J.J. Dillon, that really sucks. If it's not, who knows?
Right, I mean, it's just an odd placement.
Yes, your two favorite mid-carders right now. Razor, fake Diesel. And a guy who is being reinvented, if you will.
If you will.
No longer with the weird powder blue North Carolina Spartacus outfit and the bad silver helmet, but the Faarooq Assad.
We are the nation of domination. Nation of domination. We are the nation. I'm alive and in color. Don't diss the man. Over bum rush your mother. Now listen what I'm saying. It's for real, not playing. Faarooq is the man. Hit your knees and start praying. Nation of domination. Got power like the bear, but quick like the cat. Put 2 and 2 together, to your face on the mat.
It's the first time I've ever noticed he actually says, or we'll bum rush your mother.
Or we'll bum rush your mother.
I never actually noticed that before. Bum rush your mother. Anyway, Faarooq Assad.
Finally, this is Faarooq now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
this
no
is
longer the Assad.
This is good.
Yes. He had been off TV since Moadib took him out and buried alive. He made an appearance on... Oh, you know, JR, we haven't really talked about this. This is a relatively new show. Yeah, WWF Livewire. When did that start?
It was an awesome show. I don't have to... Let me try if I get the exact date, but it was pretty revolutionary for him at the time. It took the place of Mania. It replaced Mania in the mornings on USA Saturday mornings. And basically, it was meant to be a live call-in show. So what they would do is take calls from fans, and they also had someone in studio, usually. Vic Venom, a magazine writer, of course portrayed by... creative team member Vince Russo, was on the show, as well as Vince McMahon hosted it as well. So they had some interesting call-ins during this time. One time, Paul Heyman called in as Bruce from Connecticut and talked about how boring WWF was. And Faarooq also debuted the idea of the Nation of Domination on Livewire, like we said. So Livewire would actually exist until 2001, but this is, the original format did not last very long because they'd get a lot of crank calls and stupid questions and stuff. So
I think Tatanka's going to turn. Oh,
no, not like that.
Yes.
Did you like that show, Greenhouse? Did you watch that?
I watched it occasionally. It was the 10 a.m. Saturday morning show, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I would catch it occasionally, but when I did watch it, I liked it. I thought it was different.
And of course, it was Todd Pettengill and Sonny who were the co-hosts. So now Faarooq, no longer with the Tar Heel Spartacus outfit on, he is indeed leading the Nation of Domination, and he will bum rush your mother if you don't take him seriously. So there is your heel team, and now your babyface team. Savio Vega. Actually, we have a couple of interesting debuts here. Savio Vega, a guy who we haven't talked about in a while.
Yes.
And that is Yokozuna, sadly.
And he hasn't even been on TV really since SummerSlam, I don't think. He hasn't been on Raw at all.
Yeah, so he's been gone a while, and he suddenly shows up here.
And this is it.
Yeah, this is it. We'll ask Greenhouses. I'm not putting you on the spot again. I'm just warning you. It's just a question, and it doesn't. There's no credit towards your trivia later. This is
unless you get it right, we'll count it.
This is Yokozuna's final pay-per-view appearance. It'll end up being his final WWF appearance. Period.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Greenhouse.
Yep.
Yokozuna wrestled 25 pay-per-view matches. 2 of them were no contests, so there were 23 decisions. What do you think his record was?
I'm going to say 17-6.
Wow. You are a very optimistic person. 10-13.
He's a fan of the Orientals.
Yes, you're a fan of the Oriental 6-man titles. He was 2-1 at the Rumble, including 1 Rumble win, 3-3 at WrestleMania, 6 WrestleMania matches.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Well, twice, yeah.
Yeah, 4 of them were 2 shows. Actually, it was more like 3 1/4. He was, and he was also the first to be in 2 world title matches at back-to-back shows. 1-2 at King of the Ring, 0-2 at SummerSlam, 1-3-1 at Survivor Series, and 3-2-1 at other In Your House events.
So after this,
why don't you, give us, why don't you let everyone know the sad future of Yokozuna?
Well, he bounced around the indie circuit, always waiting for that call from Vince that never really came. He tried his best to lose some weight, but just couldn't do it. It was always rumored he'd be back, though, throughout 97, 98. It just never happened. There was also a rumor in 98 that Hulk Hogan wanted him to come into WCW because he wanted his win back from King of the Ring 93. But Vince just had to cut him loose. The health risk was way too much. He couldn't lose the weight, and he didn't want him to drop dead, basically, in the ring. Sadly, he passed away in October of 2000 from a heart attack. So Yokozuna gone way too soon. But one of those guys that you always kind of synonymous with that downtime, 92 to 94. Always worked hard and tried his best. And, he's a memorable character, and I think he's somewhat underrated.
Yes, and of course,
Hall of Fame right now.
Yes, now a member of the WWE Hall of Fame. Your thoughts on Yokozuna, Greeny?
I loved him. From when he debuted in, it was late summer '92, early fall. Mm-hmm. I always thought that he fit what Vince's ideal, giant fat guy wrestler should look like. Incredible. I loved it. I loved his character. When he passed, I want to say I wasn't surprised.
Right.
But, and then, all you hear from everybody, from Hogan to Bret to, to his family members, Rikishi and everyone, is that he's just total professional.
Yep.
One of the funniest guys you will ever meet. And, that's good to hear. At least people remember him on a positive note.
Right.
And he wasn't into the drug scene and everything. At least he died somewhat normal.
As normal as a 700-pound person.
As normal as a 700-pound man can die, but he wasn't into that whole extracurricular drug scene.
No,
he was 580 pounds when he passed away, so he'd actually lost weight.
Yeah,
he was
up to like 710, I think, or something.
Well,
like
at
that.
Heroes of Wrestling in October '99, he was 760 pounds estimated.
Jesus. Wow.
He actually had a goal of intentionally getting bigger to 850 to 900. I mean, I don't know what his goal for that was. Maybe he just figured there's no going back at that point. But so yeah, very sad that he passed away so young at the age of 34. So
Wow.
So unfortunate.
wow, he was so young during that run, huh?
Yeah,
late 20s.
He was 34 in
2000.
2000, so you go back 18 years. Jesus, he was... No, that can't be right.
What?
That would mean he'd be...
Yeah, he was 20,
Oh, yeah, no, he's
27 during his
27,
peak. Yeah.
Yep, 27. Wow, imagine being 27 years old and main eventing WrestleMania and being the world champion. That's crazy. But he was a good heel for that time.
Mm-hmm.
His character came at the exact right time that they needed him.
Yeah.
You know? Because there was kind of a dearth of heels on the roster at that time.
Very big dearth.
Yeah, so... And he filled the dearth. So there he is, but this time he's on the babyface team. And now we have a debut. And that debut is right from the company, straight down 95. And that debut is...
Oh, Flash, you are so funky.
Flash Funk!
That's right. F squared. Of course, that was Too Cold Scorpio. Real name, Charles Skaggs.
You call us
Scorpio
Skaggs, you piece of shit.
Oh, God. Isn't the buffet at the play-by-play club upstairs still open?
I'm never going away. I'm going to haunt your dreams. Make them into nightmares.
He was in WCW
Freddy Krueger
early on.
style.
Jesus. He was in WCW early on, and then he actually wrestled at Super Brawl in 1993 with a very young and not well-known in America guy by the name of Chris Benoit.
And, of course, he had that great tag title run with Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
Yes.
Everybody, here comes Scorpio.
Then he would move on to ECW.
Scorpio.
Had a great run there. And actually had a very solid run as the World Television Champion.
Yeah, oh yeah, he had a great run in ECW. Greeny, was he one of the guys you saw during this time period?
Yeah, I first saw him in WCW, and then when he came into ECW, and he was actually, they did like a little thing with him where he was TV champ and tag champ along with the Sandman, I believe, at the same time, and he called himself Two Gold Scorpio, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah, that was where he had his most success, was in ECW. He was great there. But let's move along because we're gonna be at midnight. But and of course they had a mystery man, and we talked about this last night with Kevin Kelly. For weeks they built up this mystery man, and there were rumors flying that it was going to be Randy Savage because he had lost to Hollywood Hogan at Halloween Havoc and was off TV. Rumor was that his contract was up, which actually made sense because he had signed there in October '94. So everyone thought he was coming in back here in New York City. It was coming back to WWF. That was the rumor flying. But of course, it ends up being Jimmy Snuka, who was inducted to the Hall of Fame the night before, and a lot of letdown fans, I think. And Savage would be back in WCW in February. So I remember being really pissed off at the time. The little silhouette that they kept building up even looked like Savage. And we mentioned this with Kevin. I don't know why they didn't just announce that it was Snuka ahead of time. I mean, they maybe could have popped a couple buys. He was there for the Hall of Fame anyway. Why get people excited and then just have Snuka come out? I mean, I know this is at a time when they didn't have a lot of surprises like that, so it was kind of novel, but I still think they could have done better for themselves if they just announced ahead of time that Snuka is being inducted to the Hall of Fame and then he's going to wrestle the next night. I think it would have been a shrewder move.
What are your thoughts on that, Greeny?
I agree. They should have just said, it's going to be Jimmy Snuka. The pay-per-view, I think, was selling itself between the main event, between Bret Austin, and even Taker Mankind, look good on paper. So I don't think that they needed to save it for a surprise.
There's another what if that we may someday have to sit and talk about. What if Savage had come back? Where would he have fit in that whole 1997 equation?
I don't know. I mean, would they have? I mean, he had never been a heel yet in WCW, and that's when he really hits his stride in '97 as a heel with the Diamond Dallas Page shoot and everything. So I don't know what they would have used, honestly, what they would have done with him. If he still would have been a face, would he have been aligned with Bret? Yeah, I don't know. A lot of good questions there.
We could have had a Savage Austin feud. Holy crap, would that have been amazing? Those promos would have been ridiculous. You're not macho. Oh, wow. Anyway, it's not Savage, so we'll get out of our little fantasy world here. The only thing that saves us is that this match is mercifully quick. It only goes 9.5 minutes, and then in the end, everybody just gets DQ'd.
Yeah, it's a stupid finish.
We get a couple of finishes. Diesel pins Savio, and then Snuka gets his obligatory pin. And
right, I mean, that made sense. Yeah, you let him hit the splash. And unfortunately, the only negative that really came out of this match was that Vader gets hurt. He busts his ankle up during a move. I think it was a belly-to-belly from Yoko. He messes his ankle up. So he ends up being off TV for a little bit, and he was supposed to fight Steve Austin the next night on Raw, and then he ends up being out, I think, almost till the end of December. So bad night all around for Vader. Poor guy.
Yeah, bad last 4 months for Vader. Sucks. So yeah, this Survivor match ends pretty nondescript, and yay, Snuka's back. But pretty much for one night. We don't see him again, right? He's not on camera again, right?
No.
Well, no. It's just a one thing pop, and everyone's like, "Oh, wow, that's great." So, all right, we have reached our main event, and this is where the uniqueness of Madison Square Garden comes into play. You have your World Wrestling Federation champion, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, who the last time he was here in a high-profile situation handed Steve Austin the King of the Ring, in essence, indirectly anyway. That is, of course, the curtain call back in May. Taking on a guy who had, 3-4 title shots in 1995.
Yes.
And all thankfully forgettable. But now, the guy we all know to be, you say it better than I do, JR. You say it. You do Vince better than I do. So,
the ruler of the world. Is that what you want me to say? I don't know what you're setting me up for.
I was setting you up for the way that Vince said his name in July when he came back.
Psycho Sid.
There you go. And boy, the pop Sid gets when he comes out. Holy shit!
Massive.
Crazy.
LaRue sized.
Greeny, let me ask you, where do you think the MSG
LaRue
vitriol
size.
for wow, that's a pop for you. Greeny, curious your opinion on this. Where do you think, and then I'll ask JR, the vitriol for, well, I know your answer. I'm curious to see what Greeny says. Your vitriol for Shawn from the Garden fans comes from? Is it just his character's tiring? What do you think made Sid such a huge fan favorite when this match was started?
I think that Sid, well, first off, he was in the best shape of his life. The guy looked incredible. And I've always thought that Jose Lothario was brought in to kind of cool Shawn off. To give the spotlight to other guys, to your Austin and a returning Bret and even to Sid. Having Jose Lothario with Shawn is kind of like a Skull and Backlund thing where it's like he really doesn't need a manager, he does fine on his own, but he's just kind of there, and I think it hurt Shawn.
I agree.
See, JR, you've been saying that for the last few months.
Well, here's the simple answer, honestly, of why Sid was so over. Because he was fucking awesome at this point. He just came out, kicked the shit out of people, had this great charisma. He's a big guy, soaking wet with sweat. He just came out and was a monster. I mean, it's that's it. I think I don't think there's anything more to it. And I think people were just getting tired of the Shawn Michaels character that had been on top now all year. Was just so blah, so bland and just milquetoast. He's just this guy who came out and danced, and it was just like, all right, we're done with this. And you put him in front of the cynical New York City crowd that was tired of his title reign, as great as his matches have been. And then you get a guy like Sid, who's just this badass, anti-hero monster, and just came out and just the crowd was into him. It was great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and the night before this show was ECW's November to Remember pay-per-view. Or not pay-per-view, November to Remember show.
Yep.
And so, the crowd, you and I have been talking about JR for the last 4 or 5 pay-per-views. The times are just changing now. Attitudes are changing, no pun intended. People want something different. People want something dirtier, something grittier, something not clean, crispy, and not shiny and pretty like it was in the Federation years. The fans want something different.
And you can see it in the characters because they're all in their tights. They all have names. They're not gimmicks anymore. They're just guys that go out there and wrestle. I mean, they have character traits. They're just not characters. They're not guys moonlighting in different jobs. They're all just guys with names and gimmicks, but they're not gimmicks. It's different. And the guys that worked hard in the matches were getting better. WWF was never known for their great matches outside of random guys. Here, for the first time in a while, the entire show was filled with pretty good matches overall. Not great stuff, that would come later, but it's definitely improving and getting better, and they're working hard to get there, and I think that was a big part of it.
I enjoyed this match in general.
Yes.
Sean, to his credit, Sean did kind of play off the,
Oh, yeah.
I know I'm not totally welcome here.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were happy to see the end of the Lothario run. Because it had easily run its course. I mean, it had run its course by what, friggin' May?
Well, he's not gone completely, though. He hangs around until January.
Yeah, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, because Sean doesn't come back for a little while,
Another 20-minute match as well. And
that's 4 in this show.
I didn't know really too much what to expect coming in here because they hadn't had great matches in the past, these two. Jason, what did you expect coming in? Did you think this was going to be a classic, or you were kind of hoping for a 10-minute quickie?
To tell you the truth, I went into this match completely blank. I didn't know what to expect. And to tell you the truth, 10 minutes into the match, Sean was eating shit off the bottom of the fans' feet. It was just, they turned on him.
Mm-hmm.
Very surprising.
And it was great. And now as the match is winding down, Sid is in control, and we hit the, I'd say, highlight of the match for sure. And, of course, that was Sid striking Jose Lothario with the video camera, or a TV camera, and then Jose falling off the apron. Sean hits him with the super kick, and in a way, do you think that was just a way to show that Sean maybe could have beaten him, because then he doesn't go for the pin, he instead goes and checks on Lothario? Was that a way to kind of save some face for Sean, you think?
It's weird, because it's almost like Sean, obviously it was in the works, and Kevin Kelly says this in the interview. Sean, I think, wanted to be a heel again,
right?
And I think the best way to be a heel would have been to just pin Sid, keep his title, and walk away.
Yeah, basically, you're right. Yeah,
exactly. Little bastard lying on the floor. To hell with you. I don't need you anymore.
Unfortunately, he doesn't do that. He goes out to the floor to check on Jose, and that's where hell continues to break loose.
Yes.
I can understand. Sean is asking for an EMT crew. Referee didn't see a dang thing. I hope Jose, my God, I hope he's not having a heart attack. I hope he's not having a heart attack. I mean, that's a bigger story than a WWF title, I'm sorry. And Shawn Michaels thrown back into the ring. Shawn Michaels struck in the back of the head by the camera. And Sid with an opportunity here to finish it. Sid just may finish it. If Sid hits it, it's over. We got a new champion.
Huge upset. Sean honestly looked like a pussy. I mean, he goes out, instead of winning the match, he goes out and checks on this fucking old man that's just holding him down on the outside. I mean, it was a clear way to just make Shawn look like a bitch, I thought. And Sid looks like a beast, and the crowd loved it. They're like, this fucking guy does not care. He just knocked this old guy off the apron with the camera, and when his buddy went to check on him, he goes and hits him with the camera, hits a stiff powerbomb and wins, and then brags in their face and celebrates. So it was good stuff. I mean, it was a way to make Sid effective as a champion, I'd say. And I was shocked. I was surprised. I did not think Sid was winning this match.
I didn't think so either. Dare we say, and Greeny, I'm curious your opinion on this too. That almost had, I had to say, that almost had like an ECW-ish feel to it. Just chaotic and off the wall and shit going on and fans going crazy and, swear words getting bleeped and just total anarchy. I mean, it was just crazy. You haven't seen a WWF pay-per-view like that in ever. What do you think about that, Greeny?
I totally agree. It was the first time that I can remember that a crowd just totally took two baby faces and made one of them a total heel in the middle of a match, and it did have that ECW feel to it, definitely. On a larger scale. But I mean, all three of us have been to shows at the Garden, and I mean, they're like nothing else. I was at house shows in '94, '95 at the Garden, where Owen was one of the biggest heels in the company, and he's getting babyface pops when he comes down.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you never know what you're going to expect.
And the shock of it all, like I said, I didn't think Sid was even. I was shocked when he beat Vader at Buried Alive. So for him to come in here and win. I don't know if it was all the start and stops they did in '95, or if I just never thought they'd actually go through with it and make Sid the man, and actually take the belt off Shawn. But it was fitting. They picked the right place and the right arena to do it in to finally end Shawn's reign.
I think this is what Vince wanted from Sid all along, even back in '95.
Yeah, I would agree.
Finally got it right.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So awesome match. On any other show, it's probably match of the night, but obviously because of Bret and Austin, it checks in at the second best match of the night. But still, an epic show overall. I think it's an easy A+. You got two stellar matches. You get a lot of big debuts, a lot of historical moments. The opener is great as well. There's really no even the worst match that we just talked about, that Survivor match, is only 9 minutes, and you get the nostalgia of Snuka, you get the Faarooq moment, you get Yoko's last match. So there's really no down spot on this show, and a lot of long matches and a lot of good wrestling.
And talking about unbelievable moments that went on that whole weekend. That night before, I was talking about the ECW November to Remember. That night before was the first in-ring almost meeting between Taz and Sabu. And you figure a good amount of the fans that went to Survivor Series probably went to that show.
Probably.
Most likely. And so they just, I mean, what a weekend of wrestling. And then, of course, the Hall of Fame, which that would, of course, be the last Hall of Fame class for 8 years. I don't think you could have pulled it off in any other building.
No.
I agree with you 100%, JR. You do this in Spokane or, I don't know, Syracuse or one of these other, Omaha or one of these other, it just doesn't come off. You hit the nail on the head by saying Shawn's reign had to end here.
Right. With
the right guy, in the right circumstances, with all that, again, all this anarchy and chaos going on around the ring. I mean, it's a shame. There's one guy that may have put the cherry on top of of this show if he was able to be able to maneuver around, and that was Pillman. Put him anywhere in any of these matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm assuming he probably. The only bad thing was he might have interfered in the Steve match.
I was going to say I'm glad that they didn't do that. It would have been cool to have him here, but I'm glad that they didn't have him get involved in that match.
Yeah, if he was healthy, it would have been nice to see him in one of the Survivor matches.
Right.
Maybe he probably would have been involved in that. Maybe he would have been on. Well, it was a tag team thing, but he might have been in one of the other two matches.
Right. Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, just everything just worked on this night. So I don't know what else to say. I mean, Sid is the man.
Yeah. Great show.
He was the right guy at the right time. After years of being the can't miss guy in the NWA. And, the guy everyone thought was the heir apparent to Hogan, or the heir apparent to Flair, and the heir apparent to this, and the next big thing. No pun intended, obviously. There was another guy that would get that nickname. And then the scissors thing with Arn, and then the debacle in '95. After all the crap that's going on, all of those summers that he went down to play in the West Lafayette Beer League, or West Fayetteville, whatever in Arkansas he's from, finally, he gets the brass ring. I couldn't believe it. I agree with you, JR. I don't know about you, Greeny, but I had no thought at all that he was actually going to win this match. And I think that's what made him winning it even better.
Mm-hmm.
That we were stunned. I mean, Greeny, going into the match, did you honestly think Sid was going to win?
Not at all. Not at all. But, once again, it's an MSG crowd. Any MSG pay-per-view from the past, and including this one, you always feel satisfied after the show.
Yep.
And when the show ended, I was satisfied. I didn't know what to expect, with the Bret and Austin feud. I didn't know what to expect with Sid being champion, but I was still satisfied.
I mean, you had to be. I don't think anyone who ordered attended the show. I mean, if you're not entertained by the show, I don't know what you're doing watching WWF because I mean it doesn't get too much better than this. So you might as well have had Emma Stone there because to me this is an easy A, and you're not going to get a better line than that. So let's go ahead and wrap up. We're not going to be able to have time for the feedback tonight. This is the first time, unfortunately, we've done this to you, PTB Nation. There's a lot of good feedback too. I read through it today, and thank you everyone. And if you want, let's get some conversation going. Get over there, read some of these guys' feedback. Irv C's was very good because he was there live, and I'm sorry we can't read it, Irv. But you guys really brought the heat for the feedback this time around. So, but just due to the length of the show and having Jason on and having the three-man booth here, now we're going to take a break, and then we're going to hit the trivia. So with that all said, we're just not going to really have time to read through all this feedback. It's just, the show would be too long. So, but thank you, as always, for providing it. So, Jay, how did you enjoy your debut episode here on the Vintage Vault?
Guys, I can't thank you enough. I had a blast.
Excellent. We had a blast talking to you. But guess what? The good news is you ain't leaving because you're competing.
I'm not.
So we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to hear from some sponsors. And Mr. Greenhouse, I want you to go to your little cave there, do some stretching, drink some Gatorade, and get ready to go because it's trivia time when we get back.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
How many pro wrestling news websites do you visit to get your daily news? 3, 4, maybe 5? Do yourself a favor and make that number 1. WrestleChat.net, the only professional wrestling news site that brings you all wrestling news all day long, and is home of the critically acclaimed Still Real to Us podcast, starring former CZW, ROH, and ECW announcer Eric Gargiulo and the champ Jeff Beck. That's WrestleChat.net. WrestleChat, it's where it's at.
Yes, WrestleChat.net, indeed. Your home for everything pro wrestling. All the news and notes you need from WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor. They have a great message board. Check out their podcast, The Champ, Jeff Beck, and his announcer. And of course, while you're perusing the site, you look to the right, you see the PTB Gnome, proudly worn by Jordan Duncan. Click on it, and you'll go to our full archive, courtesy of our good friends at Podbean. That is WrestleChat.net, indeed where it's at. Also, don't forget the history of WWE.com, our friend Grant Cawthon. Outstanding research site, ring results, DVD reviews, everything you need is there. Also, check out our show on Stitcher.com, whether you have iPhone, Android, any kind of phone or any kind of player, tablet. Go to it. You can listen to our shows anytime. And then, of course, also on iTunes. And, of course, check out our message board, Bigelow34.proboards.com. We're always talking wrestling, sports, anything you want. Check out JR's and my reviews. We talk Raw, SmackDown, all sorts of stuff. And don't forget to help out our friend Jay Womet. Still dealing with a lot of physical issues with his leg and a touch of skin cancer, but he's a fighter, and he's a great fan of the show. And if you want to help him, check the link on our board, Bigelow34.proboards.com, and you can help him out. He's a great guy.
Hey, Place to Be Nation, this is Gary Michael Capetta, and this is the Place to Be podcast with Scott Riscola and Justin Rosero.
All right, PTB Nation, we are back, and it is time once again for some trivia fun. This is our third matchup in the opening round. We have 3 great competitors tonight. We have had 2 men advance already. Of course, that was Derek Cornett, and Grant Owen survived the play-in game last night with the other scrub entries. But only kidding, guys. All right, tonight we got some players, though. We got guys that have been prepared. They are ready. They've been talking smack on the message boards and the Facebook page all day, all week long. Let's start with, of course, the man who's already been with us throughout the last 15 hours today, and that's Jason Greenhouse. Jason, how you doing?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good, good. Mr. Kyle Forschetti, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. I'm ready to go.
All right, and finally from Wodonga, Australia, Michael McDonald. No.
Hello.
Did I get it right that time?
Nope.
Okay.
I didn't even bother doing it.
All right, you guys, we talked off air. You all know the rules. Scott has the random order, and let's get things going. Scott, who's up? In what order are we going?
Okay, well, the guy that has the honor of being the away team, in other words, the first one on the list, is Mr. Forschetti. You get to go first, followed by Mr. Greenhouse, and then the guy that is technically the home team, and that is Mikey Mack.
It's quite the road game.
Yes. So, just to let everyone know, the middle guy is not won yet. Cornette won from the top slot, and Owens won from the last slot. So no one in the middle is won yet.
And we mean last slot.
Last slot. Okay. Once again, you have 10 seconds for the on the easy questions, 15 for the medium. We don't do the hards unless we get deep into overtime. Mr. Forschetti.
Yes.
Pick a number between 1 and 310.
Let's go with number 8.
Number 8. Okay. Let me get my timer ready here. Okay. Before his return in 2011, what competition did The Rock participate in during his last live Raw appearance in 2004? You have 10 seconds.
Competition in 2004. WWE. It was WrestleMania 20. It was the 6-man tag.
How about no?
I love that delay. It was the Diva Search. It was the last competition he was involved in.
Remember what I said, Kyle. Last Raw appearance.
Oh.
I said last live Raw appearance. He was in the pie eating contest in 2004.
All right, a little nerves. We're shaking him off.
Nerves. It's okay. That's okay.
Right.
All right, Greeny, you're up. Pick a number.
All right, let's go with the total amount of wins that the 98 Yankees had, and that's 125.
I like it.
25.
I like the cut of your jib.
Okay. Who did Dean Douglas critique at SummerSlam 1995, leading to a backstage skirmish and ensuing feud? You have 10 seconds.
Razor Ramon.
Hey, I may have a winner.
Bang! Right out of the gate. It was indeed Razor. All right. Greenhouse on the board. All right. One half of the Down Under Power Trip, Mr. McDonald. Pick a number.
All right. 26.
26. Okay. Let's see. All right. Who won the final pay-per-view match in WCW history? You have 10 seconds.
Oh, it's WCW. By this point, they couldn't pay even us to watch that.
Need an answer.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Scott Steiner.
I may have picked the winner.
Wow, well done. Yes, he beat, what was it, Sid at
No.
Sid.
No.
Booker T.
I know Sid broke his leg
DDP.
back 2 months before it.
Yeah, he beat DDP in the last match.
That's right. No one was watching anyway. All right, so after the first go-round, Greenhouse and McDonald with ones on the board. Mr. Forschetti, see if you can match them. Pick a number.
All right, let's go with 112.
Okay.
With a players' duel.
Okay. All right. 112. All right. Okay. Who was the first member of the Nexus stable to be removed from the group? You have 10 seconds.
All these recent ones are killing me. I'll go with Justin Gabriel.
It was Daniel Bryan.
Oh, wow.
Choked out Justin Roberts with a tie.
Oh.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Greenhouse. Pick a number.
Let's go with 92.
92. Okay. Okay. Who did Kurt Angle defeat in his last WWE pay-per-view match? 10 seconds.
Randy Orton.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Correct.
Yes.
Or as Maritello would say, Randy Orton.
Or All right. So Greenhouse is one question away from setting himself up to moving on. Mr. McDonald, you need to tie him to keep up. Pick a number.
187.
197.
187, he said, right?
Say 187 or 97?
187.
187.
Is my accent that thick?
No, he's just old and deaf.
I'm going to give you a whammy. Knock it off. All right. Which rap group performed a live version of the theme song during an entrance at SummerSlam 1998? 10 seconds.
Insane Clown Posse. Oddity's theme.
Correct.
We had to get at least one doobie song in there.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So 2-2, Greenhouse
us.
McDonald. Throwing haymakers at each other. Mr. Forschetti.
Let's go, Kyle. You can get right back in this, bud. Come on.
Come on, you get back in this. Pick a number.
All right, let's go number 85.
85. Okay. Who has the record for the most Royal Rumble eliminations? 10 seconds.
Kane.
No, God!
Really?
No, God!
Shawn Michaels. The Heartbreak Kid.
The most eliminations? Really?
Yeah. It was Kane for a very long time, but Shawn surpassed him.
Oh, my God.
Steve Austin then surpassed Kane.
Tough night, Kyle. It's just a tough off night. It's just an off night.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Greenhouse, you can do, if you get this right, you can do no worse than force overtime.
Let's go with number 20.
Now we're on to the medium questions.
Right, yeah, you're in the medium questions now.
Okay.
Which actor once held a position within WWE Creative, left, and has since returned? 10 seconds. 15 seconds.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
All right. I saw him on the train one day when I was heading to Grand Central, and he was leaving Stamford. We actually chatted on the train.
And then we had a
Right.
train with me, you, Sugar Tits, and Freddie Prinze.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Haven't you left yet? All right.
I'm always here watching you.
That
Please
eliminates...
leave, woman.
All right. Sadly, Greenhouse getting that question correct eliminates Mr. Forschetti. I am sorry, Kyle.
Oh, man. Picked the wrong numbers.
And,
Mr.
Kyle,
McDonald.
you are more than welcome
man.
to hang on the line with us, though, and enjoy the competition if you'd like.
Yes,
Yeah,
you can hang
definitely.
around.
Okay.
Please do. Okay. Mr. McDonald, though, you must get this question right to force overtime, or Jason Greenhouse moves on to the quarterfinals. Pick a number.
Yeah, no, absolutely no pressure at all, is there?
None at all. Nah, just relax.
It's medium, isn't it?
Yes, it's medium.
77.
77. Which posh celebrity presented the WWF title to the winner of the WrestleMania 4 tournament? You have 15 seconds.
Robin Leach.
Hey, I may have a winner!
I think Scott picked that one on purpose so we could hear you do the accent saying Robin Leach.
Oh, God.
you do realize that Robin Leach
Yes.
is not
Yes.
Australian.
Yes, I know.
Yes,
I know.
yes, we do.
Come on.
No one knows where he's from. That's
from-
one of the
he's from
weirdest
hell.
accents. It's
Yes.
like Lord Alfred Hayes, but fat.
All right. We are
Judo
in
alleys around here,
overtime.
pal.
For the first time in the first round, we are in overtime.
Now, here's the thing. If you guys go 2 more correct against each other and you're still tied, we move on to the hard questions.
And we haven't touched those yet in any matchup yet.
Although, last night you would have thought they were all hard.
Yeah, that's true, too. All right. Greenhouse, pick a number.
300.
300. Okay. Just get my timer ready here. Okay. Okay. 300. At Unforgiven 2003, which team defeated Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler and earned the spot as the Raw announce team as a result? 15 seconds.
Al Snow and Jonathan Coachman.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Wow. Mr. McDonald, he is not making it easy for you.
Mm-mm.
Wow. All right. Once again, ball's in your court.
12.
12. Okay. All right. Who was attacking Ric Flair in the steel cage when Dusty Rhodes saved Flair from them, and then Flair proceeded to turn heel on Rhodes, and Rhodes was attacked by the Horsemen in September of 1985? You have 15 seconds.
Was it the Koloffs?
Hey, I may have a winner.
Wow, that was clutch.
Woof!
Wow.
I got goosebumps.
I was gonna say, never really watched WCW by 6 months, and that was 3 years before I was even born.
Oh, that makes me feel even worse. I can imagine how Scott feels. I feel bad hearing that.
Gee, oh my God. Greenhouse, you are in a war of wars right now. We are still in the mediums. Pick a number.
27.
Okay.
The year Scott was born. Good year.
1727. How much money did Razor Ramon put on the line to get the 1-2-3 Kid to accept his rematch request in June of 1993? You have 15 seconds.
$10,000.
Pretty good.
Wow.
This guy can't the ball.
JR, isn't the fact this going long very different than last night?
Well, I told you that because you were like, "Oh, tonight won't be as bad," but I said, "Oh, it could be." It's different reasons now. These guys are both pitching perfect games, right? We're dueling here. Nothing wrong so far.
I think they each have one. They're 5. Greenhouse is 5-1, and right now
They did. What did they get wrong?
Greenhouse.
We haven't gotten anything.
No,
wrong
they haven't
yet.
got anything wrong.
So you're pitching
perfect so far.
What a weak quizmaster you are.
Oh my God! Shut up. All right, Mr. McDonald.
Yes.
Keep it perfect.
Okay. 37.
37. Which 4 men comprised the final version of the NWO in WCW in mid-2000? 15 seconds.
Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Jeff Jarrett, and I want to say Bret Hart. I don't know.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
And we have a victor. Mr. Jason Greenhouse advances in overtime. The answer was Jeff Jarrett, Scott Steiner, and the Harris Brothers were the final version of the NWO in 2000.
Not exactly very intimidating, but...
So we didn't get to the hard questions. We tapped out right beforehand. And what a battle that was. The best battle so far of the whole tournament.
Great job, guys. Great job.
Awesome job, Michael.
Cheers. I thought a WCW question would kill me on this.
It did. You got a lot of them, too, though. You hung in there. You did okay.
Yeah, no, well, we stopped getting WCW in about late 98. And then I think by the time it came back on TV, no one cared.
Yes.
At all.
Nope.
Well, and then by that time, Juventud Guerrero was down there getting shit-faced and running around naked, so then things really shit the bed.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that here.
Yes, he did.
He's the one drinking all the Fosters.
Yes.
That's what happened in the end.
All right. Great matchup, guys. Thank you so much. Kyle, thank you for joining us. And as we spoke earlier, we'll have you back on for sure. So definitely keep in touch with us, please.
Definitely, guys.
All right, Mr. Greenhouse, it has been a hell of a night. Thank you so much for joining us for the Vintage Vault, and congratulations on advancing to round 2. And you are the only perfect remaining person so far, so we'll see if you can continue that in the second round.
Thanks a lot, guys. I had an absolute blast tonight.
Anytime. Thanks for taking the night off from work for us.
Sure.
And Michael McDonald, thank you for quitting your job just to hang out with us today.
Oh, I didn't quit.
I know. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much for that.
You must hate me, huh? I've been busting your balls. I'm going LaRue on you big time.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but you're like LaRue light, double light.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's all right.
All right. Well, thank you.
If anyone no-shows, let me know. I'm
Okay.
coming back.
You'll be like
I'll
Hunter
jump-
Helmsley in 1997. You get back in the tournament.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll jump Grant Owens.
Let me.
I'll jump in the back.
You know,
take his spot.
Michael, since it's such a big deal, honestly, to have you on from Australia, is there anything you want to talk about quickly before we wrap up? Anything? Any topic you want to talk about?
Nothing wrestling wise. I'll just give a Greenhouse knows about this because I actually spoke to him last night because it nearly threw me off. Just a quick shout out to a friend of mine who will be listening to this podcast in about probably a couple hours. She's been admitted to hospital with a couple of serious medical conditions involving her white blood cell count and her thyroid, and she's recently found out she's pregnant. So, depending on what happens, it's a little bit touch and go. So, I just want to give it a shout out to Melissa and her 4 daughters, also known as Roddy's Rowdies. And yeah, so I'll be seeing them soon.
Well, yes, our prayers and thoughts go out to her as well, and thank you for anytime you need us to give some prayers or get the nation behind her, please let us know. Unfortunately, she will not probably hear this tonight because I need to go to bed, so we're probably gonna. This probably won't be up till tomorrow afternoon. Last night killed us trying to get that one posted, so tomorrow afternoon will be I guess overnight Friday for you probably. So. We'll get this posted though. You will be notified via the Facebook page. But our prayers and thoughts are with Melissa, Michael's friend. So hopefully, nation, please send out your prayers to her as well. And Michael, please keep us posted on how she's doing.
Yeah, I will do, and hopefully you guys will have me back one day.
Of course we will.
Yes,
That's not even a question.
Absolutely.
No problem.
All right, Michael.
All right.
Take care. Have a good night, bud.
No worries. Congrats, Jace.
All right, take care.
Thank you, Michael. Nice job.
Thanks, Mike.
Why's Greenhouse still on the line? I thought he dropped. We were going to talk shit about him.
No,
really.
Go ahead,
now
talk shit. I've been perfect.
now he thinks he runs the fucking show now. Jesus Christ. I'll tell you something though. Double M, he had you going.
That was a battle.
Sweat. Let me tell you something. When he answered that Koloff's question, I thought you were fucked.
You know, I already had, and he's gonna hear this. So we're talking like we're off air, but Michael, just so you know, I didn't have any faith in you in that question, man. I had the party music queued up for Greenhouse already.
Yeah. That was clutch, Mr. McDonald. When you hear this, trust me, you pleasantly surprised me on that. It's like Sid beating Shawn in Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Shocked the world.
All right, Jay, if you don't mind, and I'm going to send them both guys a message too, because I forgot to let them know. Since this won't be posted until tomorrow evening or late afternoon, just keep silent on the results of the tournament, please.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and get things wrapped up for Jason Greenhouse and for Scott Criscolo. I am Justin Rosero. Have a great weekend, PTB Nation. We will be back next week. We're not exactly sure of the schedule yet. We will definitely be doing It's Time. We're just not sure what else we're going to have for you during the week. But just stay tuned to the Facebook page, and we'll keep you posted.
Peace.
All right, later. Greeny, go ahead. You can say something.
Oof. My brain's on overdrive.
All right, good night.
I wonder how's it gonna be when it goes down. How's it gonna be when you're not around? How's it gonna be when you found out there was nothing between you and me?